Alright, so welcome back to our class. In this class video, I'll be taking you guys the full calculation on vectors. Okay, in our previous class videos under vector, I didn't do a lot of calculations. So in this class video, I'll do the full calculations in vector. Okay, in phase 1, which is an 100 level course. Okay, so now, I want to start with question 3 first before I move to question 2 and question 1. Then before we do a lot of other questions, okay? Now let's start. If you look at coming. Okay. Now if you look at question 3, they said determine the magnitude of the resultant of two displacements A and B, where A is equals to bracket open 5I minus 2K bracket close, then meter. Then B is equals to bracket open minus 3I plus 4J plus 6K bracket close, then meter. Okay, so what are they asking us to look for? They're asking us to look for what? The resultant of these two displacements, the total. Resultant means total, okay? Now, whenever you come across questions like this, when you see letters and all, whenever I come across questions like this, it's very easy. If you want to calculate for the resultant, we add all the vectors that are going in the same direction. We add them together. Don't you understand? We bring them to the one side, we add them together, then we take their square. Don't you understand? Now, how do you know vectors that are going in the same direction? Those vectors that are going in the same direction, they usually have the same letter. They usually carry the same letter. If you look at this one now, 5 and 3, they are in the same direction. Like 5 has high, 3 has high. So those vectors that carry the same letter, we add all of them together. We take their square before we take the total, before we take the square root to get their resultant. It's very easy. Okay. Now if you look at look at it, we add 5 and 3 together. Don't worry about J. If you look at A does not has any vector that carry J, so so it will be 0. Then what about if you look at this other one, you see 6K, you see 2K. We add 2K and 6K together. Okay, while worry about 4J, then since A does not have J, 4J will stand alone. Okay, so let me just show you how. Now, let's calculate the resultant. It's very easy. The resultant is equal to what? The whole square root bracket open. We had, remember I told you guys we had 5 and 3 together. So we got 5I, then plus. Now look at 3I. 3I, please always be careful of the sign. 3I has what? Carries negative value, right? So to be what? Minus what? Minus 3I bracket close. Then we'll take the square. Then plus. Now A does not has J, so we just place 0J there. Then plus what? 4J, right? 4J is positive, right? Then bracket close. Then we take the square, then plus bracket open. Now, if you look at this 2K carries negative value, so it will be minus 2K. Then what about 6K? 6K carry positive value, so plus 6K bracket close or square. So let's continue. Now let's continue. 5 minus 3 will give us what? Will give us 2. So 2 square, then plus 0 plus 4 will give us 4. Then take the square. Then minus 2 plus 6 will give us 4. Okay, will give us 4. So take the square. Now the square of 2 is what? Is 4. Plus square of 4 is what? 16. Square of 4 again is still 16, right? So it's very easy. It's very, very easy. Okay, it's very, very easy. Okay, so 4 plus 16 give us 36. Okay, we give us 36. If we add everything, give us 36. Now what is the square root of 36? Square root of 36 is what? Is 6. Since we are dealing with displacement, what is the SI unit of displacement? Is what? Meter. So the answer is what? 6 meters. So it's very easy. Whenever I see questions like this, the ones that have the same carry the same letter, ask them. And please be careful with their words, with their sign. Okay, yeah, it's very easy. Okay, now let's move to question 2. Okay, let's move to question 2. Question 2. Now, question 2 and question 1, they are resolution of vector. Yes, Yeah, question 2 is resolution of vector. Question 1 is resolution of vector. Now, before I continue to before I move to question 2, now this I want to tell you guys very important thing. Please, this is very important. And I've said this, I've taught you guys this in our previous class under vectors. Okay, I want to do it again now, but this time will be fast. Okay, now remember, you know the 4 cardinal points, right? You guys know the 4 cardinal points. Okay, this side is the positive x-axis, right? Yes, positive x-axis is also known as what? The east. Okay, why this is north is then the positive y-axis, right? Which is also known as what? Which is also known as the north direction. Whereby here, this is the negative x-axis, right? Negative x-axis, which is also known as what? The west. Then whereby here, this is the negative y-axis, which is also known as what? Which is also known as the south. Okay, which is also known as what? Which is also known as the south direction. Okay, yes. Now, please, and this part is very important, okay? Now, remember your maths, when I tell you guys about perpendicular lines, when two lines meet, there's no perpendicular line. When this line is perpendicular line, I don't know if you understand. Now, if you look at these 4 cardinal points, all these 4 cardinal points, the lines, they are all perpendicular to each other. Look at not positive y-axis and positive x-axis, they are all perpendicular. Look at negative x-axis and positive y-axis, they are perpendicular. Look at negative x-axis and negative y-axis, they are what? They are perpendicular. Look at negative y-axis and positive x-axis, they are what? They are perpendicular. Okay. Now, what is one thing common to perpendicular lines? Perpendicular lines are usually at right angle to each other, and at right angle, which is what? Which is 90 degrees. Okay, perpendicular lines, they are what? 90 degrees to each other. Okay, so that's to tell you that the angle here is 90 degrees. The angle here is 90 degrees. Okay, because why? The lines, they are perpendicular, right? The angle here is 90 degrees. The angle here is what? Is 90 degrees, right? Yes, right? Yes. Now, what is the angle in the positive x direction? Where is the angle in the positive y direction or the north? Where is the angle in the west? In the okay, yeah. Where is the angle in the west direction or negative x axis? Where is the angle in the south direction or negative y axis? Now, one thing you need to take note of is that whenever we are getting an angle of something, we usually make reference to what? To the positive x-axis or what? The east direction. Remember, here is 90. We all know that here is 90, here is 90, here is 90, here is 90 because why? The lines, they are all perpendicular. Remember, perpendicular line, they are what? At right angle, which is at 90 degrees to each other, right? Yeah, so that's why you see here is 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. Okay? Yes. Now, if they ask you what is the angle in the north direction, like what I said, we always want to get an angle, we make reference towards the positive x-axis. So if you want to draw like this, make reference to what? The positive x-axis. From positive x-axis, make reference to positive x-axis. So from here to here, usually what? 90 degrees. So let's say that, please, this is very important. Let's say that the north direction is what? North or positive y-axis is what? Is 90 degrees. It's very important though, with reference to S. Now, what about the negative S axis or the west direction? Remember, I tell you guys, this is the angle there. Whenever we are looking for an angle, we always make reference to what? The positive S axis. So, making reference to the positive S axis, what will be the angle? Remember, here is 90. Here is still 90. Since we are making reference to this place, from here to here, 90 plus 90 give us what? 180 degrees. So let's say that the west direction is what? 180 degrees. This direction is 180 degrees. This direction is 190 degrees. Now, what about the south direction or negative y-axis? Remember, when looking for an angle, make reference to what? This positive x-axis. So since you are making reference from this place to this place, what will be the angle here? 90 plus 90 plus 90 will give us what? 270 degrees. So the angle in the negative y-axis or in south direction is what? 270 degrees. This is very important though, because we make use of them later. Now what about the angle here? The angle here. Since you are making reference to to get an angle, make reference to the positive x direction. So make reference from the positive x direction, make reference to it. Then to this place here. It gave us a full circle, right? So the angle here is what? 360 degrees. Full circle is what? 360 degrees. Right? Or what? 0 degree. Okay. So the angle here is 360 degree or what? 0 degree. So this is very important. Okay. Yes. but we are not yet done. Okay, we are not yet done. Okay, now what about the angle? What about the ask you? What is the angle in the north? This is north. Remember, this is north. This is east, right? In the north east direction. What is the angle in what? In the northwest direction. Northwest direction. Where is the angle in the southwest direction? Southwest direction. Now, where is the angle in the southeast direction? Okay, southeast direction. Okay, now where is the angle here? 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 Now, it's very easy. Okay, now let me explain, but let me tell you guys that one before we move further to this question too. Okay, so let me clean this part. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, okay. Now remember, I told you guys that I'm coming. Okay, okay. Now remember that I told you guys that the full place here is all 90. This full place here is 90. This full place here is 90. This full place here is 90. Because well, this all these lines, there are these lines, this line, they are all perpendicular. So that is why it's 90, right? Yes. Now, but if they ask you the angle here, remember, we'll make use of reference to the positive s, right? If they ask you the angle here, we'll make reference to the positive s. The angle here will make reference to the positive s, right? Yes. The angle here will make reference to positive s as well, like this, okay? Yes. Now, but we all know that the whole angle here is 90. The whole angle here is 90. The whole angle here is 90. The whole angle here is 90, right? Yes. 90, right? Now, since this full place is 90, now remember this place like this place like this similar to this is similar to this, right? Yeah, like this, similar to this, right? Now, if I draw a line that cuts through the half of this place, since this whole place is 90, if I have it, here will be 45, here will be 45, right? Because 45 plus 45 give us 90. Remember, I told you guys, all here is 90, all here is 90, all here is 90, all here is 90, right? Now, if I now draw a line from the center that now cuts this place into two, yeah, and yeah. That will tell you that all here will be 45, right? Here will be 45, right? Yeah, sorry, but here will still be 45. Here will still be 45 because all here is 90, here is 90, here is 90, here is 90, right? Okay. Okay, so these lines they have feet, they usually have feet, okay? Yes, but we are not done yet. Now, since you have known this now, what is the angle in north east direction? Since remember I told you guys, whenever we are looking for an angle, make reference to a positive s. So from the positive s to this place, where is the angle? Is 45 degrees. So let's say that northeast is what? Is 45 degree. Okay. Now what about northwest? Remember when looking for an angle, make you reference to what? This positive s direction. So since you are making from this, since they're asking us to look for the angle in northwest, so we draw the line from here, from this positive s towards to this line. So what would be the angle? 45 plus 45 is 90. 90 plus 45 will give us what? Will give us 135 degrees. So northwest is what? 135 degree. Okay. Now what about here? Where is the angle? What is the angle in southwest direction? Remember, when looking for an angle, make reference to what? This positive side, right? So to now draw. You end in this direction. You end in this line, right? So if you add it, here is 90. This place is 90. 90 plus 9 is 180. Now 180 plus 45 will give us, I think, 225, right? I'm not mistaken. Where is this calculator? Okay, I'm coming. So 90 plus 45, yes, it's it's okay, it's 135. Thank God. Okay, so the angle here will be what? 90 plus this 45 give us what? 135. So the angle in the southwest direction is what? 135 degree. Okay. Now what about this? Then the now see where is the angle in the southeast direction? It's very easy. Just draw it from reference to this line, then draw it to this point. Stop here. So if we add here is 90, here is 90. 90 plus 90 give us 180. Then here is still 90. 180 plus 90 give us 270. Now, then 270 plus 45 will give us 225. Yes. 270 plus 45 will give us, oh my goodness, now I'm saying, okay, we give us 315. Give us 315. Okay, 315 degree. Okay, yes. Okay, yeah. Okay, I said that I made a mistake here. Okay, remember here is 90. 90 plus 90, that is 180. 180 plus 45. No, I know. 180 plus 45 is 225. So this angle here is 225. Okay, okay, and this angle is 225. Okay, sorry for the mistake earlier. So then you just see that's that northeast is what 45 degree, north is 90 degree, northwest is 135 degree, west is 180 degree, southwest is what 225 degree, south is 270 degree, south is 315 degree, then while east is what 360 degree or what or 0 degree. So it's very easy. So if you don't know how I get it, just know these angles in your head. Okay, it's very easy. East is 360. Okay, let me just okay. Yeah, east is what? East is 360 degree, okay? Northeast 45 degree. Okay, I'm coming. Let me just write it in a way you guys should understand. Okay, so let's start with east. East is what? 0 degree or what? 360 degree. Okay. Northeast. Northeast is 45 degree. The north itself is what is 90 degree, right? Yes. Then northwest is what 135 degree. Then west is what 180 degree. Then remember west is sensing as negative s axis, east is sensing as positive s axis, north is sensing as positive y axis, south is sensing as on negative y axis. Okay. Then southwest is 225 degree, right? Yes. Then south is 270 degree. Then south east is what is 315 degree. Okay, so just take note of this. It's very important. I've explained how we got all the angles, right? Yes, please take note of all this. It's very, very important. Now, since you have knowledge about all these angles, now let's now solve all these questions. Really, if you have this knowledge about all these angles, you can easily solve questions related to resolution of vectors. Okay, so since you have all these ones in mind, now let's go back. Now let's do some question two now. Let's do question two. Okay. So it's very easy. Now let's say a boat sail 3 meter east. You see east. East is what? 0 degree or what? 360 degree, right? Yes. Then 5 kilometer southeast. Southeast. Southeast is what? 315 degree. Okay. Then a further distance in an unknown direction. This part is important in an unknown direction. If his final position is 8 kilometers directly east, okay, the final position of that boat is 8 kilometers directly east of the starting point. Determine the magnitude and direction of the um third leg of the journey. Okay, all right. So the same one thing I'm going to tell you guys, but let's first solve first. Okay, I will tell you guys that one. Okay, so in this question, what are they telling us to look for? They're telling us to look for what? They're telling us to look for the okay, this place, that is this okay, this is what they're telling us to look for. Now they're saying a further distance in an unknown direction. Okay, we have to look for what? This further distance in an unknown direction is known as what? Is known as the third leg. Okay, this first one is this 3 kilometer east is first leg, 5 kilometer south is second leg. Further distance in an unknown direction, third leg. Okay, while this 8 is the total. Okay, so forget about the leg. It's just English. Okay, so what are we looking for? We are looking for what this unknown direction. Okay, we are looking for what the magnitude of that unknown direction as well as the direction. Remember, the direction is unknown, so we are looking for the magnitude of that vector as well as the direction, which is the unknown direction. And we have to look for an unknown direction. It's very easy. This is resolution of vector. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Just to solve it is very easy. We only need to divide into x and y. Okay, divide it into x and y. Remember, the y is always relating to sine. Okay, sine theta. Then y x is always related to what? Cos theta. Okay, yes. So wherever we are writing here, we'll put sine theta. Wherever we are writing here, we'll put what? Cos theta. Then we'll sum everything. We get our resultant, which is we get the magnitude of the vector. Then we get the direct and okay, the direction of the third leg. Okay, I also teach you guys how to calculate the direction. Okay, so let's start now. Now 3 kilometer east. Okay, so if you got it like this, now be 3 sine. Now east is what? It's 360 degree or 0 degree. Okay, let me use 0 degrees. It's the same thing. Then we'll go here, we'll put 3 cos. Wherever I put wherever we will put the same thing here, but the angle will be different. Here will be sine, here will be what? Cos, then 0 degree, then plus, then 5 kilometer southeast. 5 kilometers southeast. Okay, remember, put sine. Southeast is what? This side, I explain it. This is southeast, which is 315 degree. Okay, so 315 degree. Then plus we put here will now be cos 5 cos 315 degree. Okay, so then let's continue. Then a further distance, then a further distance in another direction. Okay, so since we don't know that further distance, we are looking for that. That is what we are looking for. So I'll put a plus x here. Okay, since we are dealing with y, I will just say okay. Let me just cut down on further distance. Let me cut down on the further distance in another direction. Let me call this. Let me just give it a. Then since we are dealing with y axis, I'll put ay. Then plus the unknown, which is a. We are looking for the unknown, which is a, right? Yes, I just use letter a. Or should I use? Let me just use s. Okay, since you are familiar with s as the unknown. Okay, so here will be sy. Okay, unknown. Y here will be what? X. Since you are doing this place, xx. Okay, yes. Now they said if his final position is 8 kilometer east, they said the total of everything is 8. The total of everything here is 8 kilometer east. Total of everything here is 8 kilometer east. So the total, if you add everything, the total is what? Is let me arrange it now. Let's do it now. Let me do it now. Let's do like this. 3 sine theta then plus 5 sine 3. I mean, what am I doing? Okay, this is 0, right? Yeah. 3 sine 0 plus 5 sine 315 degree then plus xy. Then they say is equals to, that is this total now, which is 8 degree what? Right? East, right? So which is equals to what? 8. Since we are dealing with y direction, will not be sine. Remember, east is what? East is 360 degree or 0 degree. So 8 sine was 0 degree. So this is the total. They are telling us look at what? This is the first leg, second leg, third leg. They are telling us look at what? The third leg. The total of everything is 8 sine 0. 8 sine 0. Okay. Now what about this other place? This is y now. Okay, let's see this s. So now s. Now be 3 cos 0 plus 5 cos 315 degree, then plus x subscript s, right? The unknown is equals to, now the total is 8 directly what is, so now be what? 8 cos 0. Okay, so that is just, we are looking for what? These guys. Okay, it's very easy. So let's continue. Okay, let's say this is for x, this is for y. Now let's add everything here. 3 sine 0 give us I think you give us 3. 3 sine 0 give us, okay, give us 0. 3 sine 0 is 0. Okay, then plus 5 sine 315. 5 sine 315 is minus 5 sine 315 is minus 3.5355. Okay, so minus 3.5355. Then plus this unknown which we are looking for, then equals to 8 sine 0. 8 sine 0 will give us 0. So here will be 0, right? Now, since 0, yeah, since here is 0, here is still nothing, right? 0 is nothing. Okay, so we are writing something like this, right? So since we are looking for s, I want to make sy stand alone, which is the unknown. This one will cross towards this side. If it cross towards the equals to side, if you turn towards, not turn toward plus, right? So now be plus 3.53 plus 3.5 plus 3.53 5, 5. So let me tell you that our SY, I'm coming. So let me tell you that our SY, which is the unknown, is equals to what? We are not done yet to 3.5355. Now let's add this place here. Let's do this part now. I can clean this place now. Okay, I can clean here. Alright, so let me continue. So if we add 3 cos 0, 3 cos 0 is 3, okay? So 3 then plus 5 cos 315 degree. 5 cos 315 degree. I'm coming. 5 cos 315 degree is 3.5355 plus 3.5355. Then plus the unknown, right? Now equals to 8 cos 0. Let's check. 8 cos 0, 8 cos 0 is 8, okay? So 8, okay? Alright, so let's add everything. I'm coming. This is x, okay? Let's subscript s. So if we add everything, we want to make we are looking for sy, sx, right? So to look for sx, can be equals to 8. This one will come here minus 3.5355. Then this one will come here. Okay, let's add this one. Let's add them together first. Okay, if we add these two together, if you add this together, it give us 6.3 plus 3.5355. You give us 6.5355. Then plus x subscript s equals to 8. So if you want to make this one stand alone, it might be s equals to 8. This one will cross towards this side. If you cross towards this side, turn minus, right? Minus 6.2 minus 6.5355. So let's subtract it. Let's subtract it. 8 minus 6.5355 will give us 1 point. I'm coming. So if we subtract it to give us, I'm coming. Let me do it again. 8 minus 6.5355. If you do everything, give us 1.4645. Okay, so our excess is equals to what? 1.4645. Okay, so that is just it. So we're getting our SY, we're getting our excess. So what are we looking for next? We want to look for a total. We'll look for a total of them. Look for a total of them. Then once we get, that is just it. So resultant, which is total, is equals to what? Bracket open x y plus. Remember, that is to look for resultant. It's very easy. Okay. Remember, how are we going to look for the resultant? It's very easy. Which is total now? Resultant is equals to what? Is equals to resultant is equals to, remember, ay plus a. Coming. The resultant is equals to the square root of let's say sy square then plus xs square. Okay, I can use any letter. I can say resultant is equals to ay square plus ax square. I never understand. So it's the same thing, okay? Now let's continue. R will be equals to what? Root. Our sy is equals to what? 3.5355 all square. Then plus what? Our ss is 1.4645. So 1.4645 all square. So when we do everything, we take the square root, we get what? We get the what? We get the magnitude. Okay, we get the magnitude. Okay, so let's do it. Let's add everything together. Let me be fast. So bracket open 3.5355 all square, then plus bracket open 1.4645 bracket close all square. So if we do everything, if we add everything and take the square root, our resultant is equals to 3.826. Okay, 3.826. So this is the further distance we have been looking for. Okay, yes, this is further distance we are looking for. We are not done yet. Okay, we are not done yet. Okay, kilometer. We are not done yet. Okay, we have gotten the magnitude now. That is the amount. What about the direction of the third? What about the direction of this resultant? It's very easy. Okay, to look at the direction is very easy. Okay, let me just. I'm coming. Okay, let me clean here. To look for a direction is very easy. Okay, now how are you going to look for a direction? I've taught you guys this in our previous class in vector. Okay. Now to look for resultant, I told you guys to look for resultant, resultant is equals to can say resultant is equals to y square plus what s square. The square root of s square plus y square plus s square, or you can say the square root of a square plus b square. A is y, b is x. Or you can just say you can just say ay square plus as square. The same thing, or you can just say a square plus what b square. Okay, so this formula look for what the resultant. We have gotten the resultant. Now what about the direction? Which formula can we use to get the direction of these resultants? Which formula? It's very easy to get the direction. Tan theta, to get direction, tan theta is equals to, let me use, okay, equals to a over b. Okay, a over b. A is what? A is the y, b is what? The x-axis. Okay, a is y-axis, b is the x-axis. Or I can say a y, then a x is the same thing. Okay, so let me just use tan theta is equals to a over b. Okay, yes, that is just it. Remember, we are not done yet. To remember, our a will be what? This y-axis. Our s will be what? Our b will be what? Will be this x-axis, right? Yes. Okay, the resultant is this, right? Now where about the direction? Now to look for direction which is this angle here. To look for direction to look for direction, take the inverse of tan. Now be now be theta is equals to the inverse of tan a over b. So this is the formula to look for what? The angle. I'm sorry. So this is the formula to look for a direction, okay, of the resultant. Theta, which is the direction. Theta, which is direction, is equals to the inverse or shift tan a over b. This a is y-axis, b is the x-axis. Okay, or you can say a is this ay. I mean xy, why this b is xs. Okay, so that is just it. Okay, now let's continue. Okay, so now we are looking for the angle. We are looking for the direction, right? This is the direction. Okay, theta is the direction of the arrow. Okay, we are looking for theta itself. Theta is equals to the inverse of tan, then a over b, right? So let's continue. Equals to the inverse, which is shift tan. A is what? Is 3.5355. Remember, I told you guys A is still something as what? SY, or A is what? The S is Y direction, Y axis, so they are the same thing. Okay, yeah. So what is our A or our SY or our Y? Our SY is what? Is 3.5355. Okay, then divide by our B. B is what? Is the same now as xs or what? Or our s direction or our s axis. B is what? 1.4645. So if you take the inverse of this value, we get what? We get the direction. Okay, so let's do it now. To look for inverse in your calculator, just press shift and tan. You have tan inverse. Then let's do divide 3.5355 divided by 1.4645. So the angle is 67 degree. Okay, so 67 degree. Okay, 67 degree. So the resultant is 3. So the resultant is 3 point. I mean the magnitude of the resultant is 3.86. I mean 826. The direction is now what? Is now 67 degree. So it's just easy. Okay, so that is just it. All right, so that is just it. This is the formula to calculate for what? The direction of this thing of the resultant. Okay, a over b. Okay, where a is y direction, y b is the s axis or s direction. Okay, so that is just it. Okay, now there's this thing I want to tell you guys concerning this direction. Okay, yes, I didn't say that in my previous class. Like I didn't say it. I forgot. So let me tell you guys, this is very, very important as well. Okay, so now let's continue. I want to tell you guys something. All right. All right. Okay. Now it's all about the four quadrants. Okay. Now this part is known as the first quadrant. This part is known as the second quadrant. This part is known as what? The third quadrant. While this part is known as what? The fourth quadrant. Right? Yes. Now remember, this is positive y, this is positive s axis, this is negative s axis, this is what? Negative y axis. Okay. Now it's very important. This part is very important. Okay. Now, if they ask you to calculate for angle of the resultant, if in that question the if in that question the y and the s are positive, you know that that angle they are telling you to look for lies in the first quadrant. Just like this question we did. Look at our y. Our y is positive. Do you see any negative here? No. Do you see any negative here? No. So our y is what? Positive. Our s is positive. Does that say that the angle calculated for, which is 67 degrees, lies in first quadrant? I don't know if you understand. Okay, lies in first quadrant. So formula to calculate for the angle um when the y-axis and x-axis are positive is theta is equals to the inverse of tan a over what? B, or you can say y over what? S. Okay, I don't know if you understand. A represent the y, B represent the s. So it's don't confuse anything. This is okay. Okay. Now, if in the question they ask you to calculate for the angle, if in the question the y-axis is positive. Let's say in the question we are given the y is positive and the s is not negative. Let's say here is negative, for example, this is x, this is y. The y is positive, the s is negative. Let's say that the angle you are looking for lies in what? In the second quadrant. Let me understand. Lies where? Lies where? In the second quadrant. Okay. Now, if that's what is now, if for example in that question that your the y is positive, your y is positive, and your s is negative, you know that the angle lies in the second quadrant. Now, how can you calculate for I can you calculate for the angle when the angle lies in the second quadrant? It's very easy. Okay, take note. The angle will be what? The angle will be what? Okay, the angle will be going in second quadrant. The angle will be 180 minus theta. Okay, the total angle will be what? 180 minus theta. Remember, theta is what? Theta is what? Is shift tan is inverse of tan y over x. So you can just say 180 minus tan y over s, shift tan y over s. So you understand. So let's say for example, now let's say for the example, let's say this question, the s was negative, and I think look at the angle of the resultant. Since the s is negative and our y is positive, let's say that the angle lies in second quadrant, right? Yes. Now, if they ask to calculate for the angle, since the angle lies in second quadrant, we have already gotten theta to be 67, right? So since it lies in the second quadrant, we'll now do like this. The total angle will now be 180 minus what? 67. I don't even understand. Since we already got this theta to be 67, we minus 180 minus 67. I don't even understand. So it's very important, very vital. Okay, know it. So yeah, the angle is to calculate in second quadrant is 180 minus what? Minus theta. Okay, 180 minus theta. Remember, why can you look for theta? Please, these two are not the same. This is just the total angle in what? In second quadrant. Okay, so theta is what? Inverse tan y over s. Okay, now what about if in the question your y is negative, your s is negative, s is negative, y is negative? That says that the angle lies what? In the third quadrant. How can I calculate for when the angle lies in the third quadrant? The formula is, I'm coming. Formula is theta, which is the angle we are looking for, is equals to 180 plus what? This one here. 180 plus inverse of tan y over what? X. Okay. Now let's say in this question, let's say the y and the s, they are all negative. And remember our theta was 67, right? When we calculate our theta was 67. So we just add 180 plus 67, we get the total angle. That is just it. Okay. So it's easy. Yeah, in the first quadrant to calculate for the angle is very easy. When y and s is positive, the angle is what? Inverse of tan y over x. When the s is, when y is positive, s is negative, look for the angle here will be 180 minus theta. Okay, when the both are negative, look for the angle here to be what? 180 plus theta, and theta is what? Inverse tan y over x, right? Now whenever in the fourth quadrant, when x is positive, when x is positive, y is negative. Y is x is positive, y is negative. It lies in what? In the fourth quadrant. How can you calculate in the fourth quadrant? How can you calculate for the angle in fourth quadrant? You see something with this. Okay, see something with this should not be theta is equals to 180 minus what? Um, right? No, should not be rather should not be theta is equals to 360 degree minus what? Uh, Minus this one. Okay, so your overall angle will not be what? 360 minus theta. Theta is what? Inverse of tan y over x, right? So that is just it. First quadrant, your angle is just theta inverse of tan y over x. Second quadrant is 180 minus that angle. Third quadrant is 180 plus that angle. While fourth quadrant is 360 minus this angle. So that is just it. Okay. So in this question that we solved earlier, okay, that question we solved, that's number 2. We found out that both y and x they are positive. So that is why we just calculated for the angle to be inverse of tan y over x. And if you understand, both of them are positive, okay? So that is why our angle was 67, right? So now let's move to question 1. All right, so let's move to question 1. Okay, let me do question 1. Question 1 is still resolution of vector. All right, so question 1. All right, so they say a particle has a velocity of 1, 2 meter per second, 3 meter per second, and 4 meter per second. Okay, incline at an angle of, let me just do it. I want to be fast. Okay, I bet you guys have knowledge of the resolution of vector now. Okay, so let me just be fast. Okay, all right, so now they said a particle has velocity 1 meter per second at an angle of 0 degree. So let's tell you that, remember this part is 0 degree. So this is the velocity here is 1. Okay, then 2 meter per second inclined at an angle of 60 degree. So now be something like this. Here will be 60 degree. The 2 meter per second is inclined at what? 2 meter per second is inclined at 60 degree, right? Yes. The next one, root 3 root 3 meter per second inclined at what? 150 degree. Okay, so now be something like this. Okay, so I'm coming inclined at okay, that is 3 root 3. The vector 3 root 3 inclined at an angle of 150 degree, right? 150 degree. Okay, or let me put it here rather. Okay, 150 degree. All right. The last one, 4 meter per second inclined at what? 300 degree. Okay, 300 degree. Okay, 4 meter per second. So let me read it again. A particle has velocity 1, 2, 3 root 3 and 4 meter per second inclined at an angle of 0, 60, 150 and 300 respectively. What does this respectively mean? It means that this one is inclined at 0 degree, this 2 is inclined at 60 degree, this 3 root 3 is inclined at 150 degree, 4 is inclined at 300 degree. Okay, yes. Now you might ask, how do I know how to arrange this thing? It's very easy. Remember, I told you guys in previously just now that here is 270, here is 180, here is 90, here is 0 or what? 360, right? Yes. Okay, and our very first velocity was inclined at 0 degree. So that is why I found that here is 1. Then the second one, 2, was inclined at 60 degree. Since here is 90, that means the 2 will be somewhere here, right? Here will be 60 degree, right? Somewhere here, 2 will be like this, right? Now, 150, the other one, 3 root 3 inclined at where? At 3 root 3 inclined at recline at angle 150 degree, right? I cannot go and put it here and I say 150 degree. Do you know why? I cannot go and put it here. Do you know why? Because why? Because here is 180. So that will tell you that 150 degree will be inside here. I don't even understand. Because 180 is bigger than 150, right? Yes. So that is why you found that it's here, because we all know that here is 180. Okay. Now what about the last part? They said 4 meter per second was inclined at here 300 degree. I cannot put it here. I cannot say 4 meter per second then 300 degree. Because when here is 270. 270 is lesser than 300 degree. So let's say that 300 degree will be somewhere here or here, because why? Because this part is either 0 or 360 degree. So here is 270. So 300, the angle might be somewhere here. So that's why I say these are arranged. Okay. Yes. So that is just this one. Now let's solve. It's very easy. Now let's solve. Okay, now let's solve. This resolution of vector is very easy. Okay, as long as, let me just tell you, as long as you know the real angle, you can just solve. Use that method I show you guys. You can just use it to solve, get your answer. What are we looking for? We're looking for the magnitude as well as the direction. Just divide it into two parts, x and y. Okay, remember y is always sine, x is always cos, right? So let's start now. Let's start with one. One will be sine what? 1 is inclined at what? 0 degree, right? So sine 0 degree. Here will now be 1 cos what? 0 degree. Then plus 2 is inclined at 60 degree. So you just use 2 sine 60 degree. This will be 2 plus cos 60, right? Then 3 root 3 is inclined at 150 degree. So you just use plus 3 root 3 sine 150 degree, right? Plus here will now be 3 root 3 cos 150 degree. Okay. Then plus again the last part 4 is inclined at 300 degree. So there you just use 4 sine 300 degree. Okay, plus 4 cos 300 degree. Okay, so that is just it. So if we add everything, we get our y, we get our hairs, then look for the resultant, we get our answer. Okay, let me add everything. I'm not to waste time again. So let me add 1 sine 0 plus 2 sine 60 plus 3 root 3. I'm coming. Plus 3 root 3 sine 150. Then plus 4 sine 300. Plus 4 sine 300. We have we have root 3 divided by 2. The total is root 3 divided by 2, which is a fraction. Let me turn it to decimal. So our y is equals to what? 0.8660. Okay. What about our x? Okay, what about our x? Let's just add everything. 1 cos 0 plus, I'm coming. 1 cos 0 plus 2 cos 60, then plus 3 root 3 cos 150, then plus 4 cos 300. So that's just it. When I add everything, our y in fraction is minus half. I mean our s, when I add everything, our s in fraction is minus half. Let me turn into decimal. When I turn into decimal, it's what? Minus 0.5. Now look, this said that our y is positive, our x is what? Is negative. So let's say that if you look at the question, it will tell us look at the direction, right? So when we are looking at the direction, that's to tell you that the angle lies in the second quadrant. Second quadrant, s is negative, y is what? Positive, right? So before we get to the direction, let's solve we are not done with the magnitude yet. Okay, the magnitude of the resultant. Since we are getting our y to be this, we are getting our x to be this. Now let's look for the resultant. Arrow is equal to what? Root y square plus what? S square, right? Yes, or you can say a square plus b square. Well, a will be y, b will be x. Or anyway, or you can say as square plus, ay square plus as square. So anyone, right? So let me use y. Okay. Let me use our resultant. I'm going for resultant. R is equals to root. I'm coming. Let me change the marker. Okay. So, oh my God. So R will be equals to what? Root y square plus what? S square, right? So R will be equals to what? Y square is what? Y is 0.8660, right? Or square. 0. I'm coming. 0.866 all square. Then plus S is what? Minus 0.5, right? All square. Okay, minus 0.5 all square. Now the square of a negative number give us a positive number. Okay, so let's add everything. We get our resultant. Okay, so all square, then plus bracket open minus 0.5 bracket close all square. So our answer, everything we got. I'm coming. Let me do it again. I'm coming. Let me do it again. All right, so let me do it again. Root bracket open 0.8660 bracket close all square, then plus bracket open minus 0.5 bracket close all square. Then when I do everything, our resultant, when we do everything, our resultant arrow is equals to 0.9999999, which is approximately what? 1. It's approximately 1. So the magnitude of the resultant, find the resultant velocity magnitude. So the magnitude of the resultant is what? 1 meter per second. Now, what are we looking for next? The direction, right? The direction. So it's very easy. Now, to look for a direction, I told you guys, depends on the quadrant in which the vector lies, or the quadrant in which the resultant vector lies. Okay. Now, are you going to use quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, or quadrant 4? Which one are you going to use? Now, if you look at this, when we were solving, we found that our y was positive, our s was negative. So, yeah, we all know that here is negative, here is positive. So let's say that the direction we're looking for, the resultant lies in this direction, right? The resultant lies in the second quadrant. Resultant lies in what? In the second quadrant. Okay. Our y is positive, our s is negative. So positive y, negative s. So that is second quadrant. So our resultant lies, the direction of the resultant. Our resultant lies in the second quadrant, the direction lies in the second quadrant. Yes. Now, how are we going to look at direction when the vector is in the second quadrant? I told you guys that the direction is equal to 180, then minus what? Theta. And remember, what is theta? Theta is equal to what? The inverse of tan A. Let me use the inverse of tan y over s, right? So, inverse of tan y is what? Y is 0.66, right? 0.8660. Then divided by s is what? Minus 0.5, right? So forget about the minus here, right? We are doing an angle. So let's continue. The inverse of this thing. I'm coming. So let's do our theta. This one, let's do it. Okay, so to look for inverse of now, write shift inverse, then 0.8660, then divided by what? 0.5. Okay. So when we do everything, our angle is is 60 degree. Okay. Yes, we are not done yet. Okay, we are not done yet. We have gotten theta to 60. Now, if we put 60 here, our total, the real angle will be 180 minus 60. Okay, so 180 minus 60 is what? 120. So our angle, the angle resultant is 120 degree. Okay, so that's just it. So it's very easy. All right. So let's do the rest question before we move to, yeah, let's do the rest question. Okay. So let's continue with the next question. Okay. So I will start with question 7 before I move to question 6, question 5, question 4. Okay. So now let's solve question 7. Now they said a particle is subjected to two displacements as follows: 30 meter to the northeast. Okay, 30 meter to the northeast and 40 meter to what? To northwest. Okay. Remember, northeast, I told you guys, northeast, the angle is at what angle? Northeast is at, this is northeast, right? Is at what? Angle 45 degree, right? 45 degree, right? Yes. What about northwest? Northwest, like this, right? Yes, northwest. Is at where? At an at angle 135 degree. I told you guys that one. Okay. Yes. 135 degree. Okay. Yes. They said a particle is subjected to two displacement as follows: 30 meter to the northeast, 40 meter to what? To the northwest. What is the third displacement? And what is the third displacement and direction? Okay. So it's very easy. Okay. So how are we going to do this? Very easy. Okay. So yes, just like the method we use when we are solving for the when we're doing resolution of vector. Yes, this is also resolution of vector as well. Okay. Yes, it's also resolution of vector. Now it's very easy. Okay. So we divide this into two. The y component and what? S component. Remember, y component is usually sine, right? Y component is usually sine. S component is usually what? Usually cos, right? So it's very easy. Now let's start with 30. Okay, so 30 sine 30 at what? To the what? To the northeast. Northeast is at what angle? 45 degree, right? So sine 30 sine what? 45 degree. Now go to this part. We say 30 what? Cos 45 degree. Okay, now let's continue. Then plus 40 sine northwest is what? 135 degree, right? Then I'll go here plus 40 cos 135 degree. Okay, so that's just it. I'll add this one, get our x, then look for the total, then look for the direction. It's very easy. Okay, so permit me to clean this place. All right, so let me clean this place. All right, so now let's add y, let's add this. It's very easy. So if we add 30 sine 45, then bracket close plus 40 sine 135. So if we add this place, our y would be what? Our y will be 35 root 2. Okay, so y will be what? Y will be what? 35 root 2. What about our s? Now let's add the x. Okay, let's add the s. 30 cos 45 degree, then plus 40 cos 135 degree. So if we add it, if we add s, we will get what? Our s is equals to what? Minus 5 root 2. Now what are we looking for? We are looking for the resultant of the third displacement. Now how can we calculate for the resultant? Remember, I told you guys using Pythagoras theorem, which is r is equals to what? Root y square plus what? S square, right? So r will be equals to what? Y is what? 35 root 2, right? All square. Then what? Plus s is what? Minus 5 root 2, right? So bracket open, minus 5 root 2, bracket close. Okay, so remember, let's just add everything. Okay, remember the square of a negative value give us a positive value. The total, let's go resultant. Okay, so square root, bracket open, 35 root 2, bracket close, all square, then plus bracket open, minus 5 root 2, then bracket close. Wait, I'm coming. Okay, then bracket close, all square. Now if we do everything, if we add everything, resultant will be what? If we add everything, resultant will be what? 50. Okay, 50 meter. Now, so when we calculate for the resultant is what? The resultant is 50 meter. Okay, so let's move to the next question, which is question 6. Okay, now let's move to the next question, which is question 6. Now let me clean here. Okay, now question 6, they said a particle of mass 10,000 gram, is acted upon by what? Forces 2 Newton, 4 root 2 Newton, 6 Newton and what? 8 Newton. Inclined at angle what? 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree and 120 degree respectively. This means that, this respectively means that this force is inclined at where? The very first angle, which is 30 degree. This other force, which is 4 root 2, is inclined at what angle? 45 degree. This 6 Newton is inclined at what? 60 degree. While this 8 Newton is inclined at what? 120 degree. Now, what are they telling us to look for? They're telling us to look for what? The magnitude of, they're telling us to look for what? The resultant force, okay? They're telling us to look for the resultant force. They're telling us to look for resultant force and what? Acceleration, okay? So we have to look for the resultant force. That is total force first. Once we get our total force, then we'll look for the acceleration, okay? Yes. How are we going to look for the, once we get, remember, force is what? MA, right? So once we use this parameter to look for force, we are then remember they gave us mass. So we use this force and mass to look for what? Acceleration, okay? Now let's look for the total force first, okay? Now this question is what? Is resolution of vector as well. Resolution of vector. Now let me just draw it, okay? Let me just draw it. Okay. Now they said at first, they said a particle of mass 10,000 grams is acted upon by what? Force is 2 Newton. 2 Newton is at what angle? 30 degree, right? So 2 Newton at angle what? 30 degree. Okay. Now let's continue. Then 4 root 2 Newton at what? 45 degree. Okay, so 4 root 2 Newton is at what? Is at what angle from here to here? Is at angle 45 degree. Okay, then let's continue. On that one, they said 6 Newton inclined at what? Inclined at 60 degree. Okay, so it's still here. Okay, still here. 6 Newton from here to here inclined at what? 60 inclined at 60 degree. Okay, then the last one, 8 Newton inclined at where? 120 degrees. So let me use, okay, let me say here like this. 8 Newton inclined from here to here, inclined at what? 120 degree. Okay, so what are we looking for? We want to use this parameter to look for what? To look for the total force. Then we get the acceleration. It's very easy. Divide this into y and what? Y and x component, right? So divide into y and x component. So let's start with 2 first. 2, remember y is always sine, s is always cos, right? So let's start now. 2 to be what? 2 sine what? 30 degree. Why here will be what? 2 cos what? 30 degree. Okay. What about here? Here will now be 4 root 2 sine 45 degree. Y side will now be plus, rather plus. Y side will now be plus what? 4 root 2 cos what? 45 degree. Now let's continue. Then plus 6 sine what? Sine 60, right? 60 degree. Why will be what? 6 cos what? 60 degree. Okay, why the last part now be now be 8 sine 120 degree. Why will be what? Why will be 8 cos 120 degree. So if we add everything here, we get our y, we get our s, then we look for the resultant using Pythagoras theorem. So let me add everything here. So to be 2 sine 30, then plus 4 root 2 sine 45 bracket close, then plus 6 sine 60 bracket close, then plus 8 sine 120 bracket close. So if we add everything, and our y, I turn it to decimal, okay, I turn it to decimal. So our y will be what? I turn everything to decimal. Our y will be 17.12, okay? Yes. If you turn, it can be 17.42 or 5. This is what the calculator gave me. 5 plus 7 root 3, which is the same thing as well, 17.12. Okay. So I just turn it to this one, rather 17.12. I turn it to this one in my calculator. Now let's add all this one here. Okay, let's add that part. 2 cos 30, then plus 4 root 2 cos 45, then plus 6 cos 60, then plus 8 cos 120. So if we add everything, let me turn it to decimal. If we add everything, our x will be 4.73. So our x will be what? 4.73. Okay. If you do it at first, you have 3. This is what calculator give me, 3 plus root 3, which is something as what? 4.73. Okay, which something as 4.73. Our y is 17.12. Our x is 4.73. Okay, so let's look for the resultant. Okay, let's look for the resultant force. I'm coming. Result total force will now be what? Using Pythagoras theory, and y square plus what? S square, right? So it's equals to what? Our y is what? 17.12. So bracket open. I'm coming. Root bracket open. 17.12 up square then plus what bracket open. Again, 4.73. Okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. Because of space. Okay, y is 17.12 all square, then plus bracket open 4.73 all square. Now let me add them together. Okay, square root bracket open 17.12 bracket close all square then plus bracket open 4.73 bracket close all square. So if we do everything, when we do everything, our total force is 17.76. So our resultant, which is our total force, is equal to what? 17.76 Newton. Okay, so the resultant force is what? 17.76 Newton. Okay, now what next are we going to look for? We are going to look for what? The acceleration. Okay, we are going to look for the acceleration, which is very easy. How are we going to look for acceleration? Then remember, they gave us mass. We have gotten our force already. They gave us mass. We have gotten our force already. Now we are going to use these two parameters to look for what? Acceleration. Remember, force is equal to what? Mass times acceleration, right? Since our force is what? 17.76 is equals to our mass is what? 10,000 gram. Okay. Now remember, we cannot just use gram to solve. We need to convert to what? Kilogram. How are we going to convert to kilogram? By dividing by what? From mass to convert from kilogram to convert from gram to kilogram, we divide by 1,000. Why to convert from right? Yes, right. To convert from to convert from gram to kilogram, we divide by what? 1,000. Yes, yes, divide by 1,000. Then want to convert from kilogram to gram, we then multiply by what? 1,000. I've messed them up. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We are going to convert it to what? To kilogram, right? Convert it to kilogram. So how are we going to convert it by to kilogram? Divide by what? 1,000. So if we divide it by 1,000, if we divide it by 1,000, and 10,000 divided by 1,000, 10,000 divided by 1,000, give us 10. Okay. So it will give us what? Give us 10. So our mass is 10 kilogram. Okay. So let me clarify everything. Now to convert from gram to kilogram, we will divide by what? Divide by 1,000. Okay. Yes. What to convert from kilogram to gram, we will multiply by what? 1,000. Okay. Yes. So this gram now we converted it to kilogram by doing what? By doing what? By dividing by what? By 1,000. Okay. When I divide 10,000 by 1,000, we will be left with what? 10, right? So the mass is 10, then that's what? Acceleration. Okay. So 10 times 10 times acceleration. So if we do everything, our A will be what? Here will be what? Here will be 10. 17.76 is equals to what? 10A, right? If you make A stand alone, it will be what? 17.76 divided by what? 10. If you do everything, A will be what? 1.776 meter per second square. So this is the acceleration. Okay, this is the acceleration, then this is the force. Okay, yes. Now let's move to the next question, which is question. So now let's move to question 5. They said a lady drove her car northwest. Okay, lady drove her car northwest for a distance of what? 10 kilometers. Okay, I'm coming. So for a distance of what? 10 kilometers. Remember, northwest for a distance of what? 10 kilometers. Then east for what? 40 kilometers. Then south for what? 60 kilometers. Calculate the displacement of the car from the starting point. It's just easy. Let's look for the resultant, the total displacement. Okay, it's very easy. Okay, this is resolution of vector as well. So what are we going to do? We are going to divide by what? Like divide it divide into the two components. Y component and what? S components, right? Remember, Y component is why we use sine in Y component. While in S component, we use what? Cos, right? So let's start now. We start with 10. Remember, northwest is what? The angle is what? 135 degree, right? Yes. Then east, the angle is for east is what? 0 degree. 0 degree or 360 degree, right? Then what about south? South is what? 270 degree, right? Yes, now let's start now. A lady drove her car northwest for a distance 10 kilometer. So 10 kilometer northwest. So sine what? Northwest is what? 135 degree, right? Why for this side will be what? 10 cos 135 degree. Now let's continue. Then okay, let's continue. Then east for what? 40 kilometer. For 40 kilometer. So to be what? 40 sine east is what? 0 or 360 degrees. So let me use 0. Then here will now be what? 40 cos 0. Okay, then let's continue plus. Then south for what? 60 kilometer. Okay, so 60 kilometer. South is usually what? South is usually 270 degree, right? So 60 sine what? 270 degree. While here will now be what? 60 cos 270 degree. So it's very easy. So let's add here, then get the resultant. Yes, which is it? Like which is what they are asking us to look for. So let's add here. Okay, it's very easy. So that'll be 10 sine 135, then plus 40 sine 0, then plus 60 sine 270. Okay, so if we add everything, my calculator gave me minus 60 plus 5 root 2. So let me convert it to decimal. Okay, if I converted it now be when I converted it, we have the y is equals to what? Minus 52.9. Okay, let's add this one now. Let's get our s. Okay, so let's get our s. Now be what? 10 cos 135, then plus what? 40 cos 0, then plus what? 60 cos what? 270. Okay, so if we do everything, we add everything. Calculator gave me 40 minus 5 root 2. Yeah, you can still convert it. I converted it, now be 32.9. Okay, we're getting our y, we're getting our s. Now let's get the total, which is the resultant. R is equals to root what? Y square plus what? S square, right? So R will be equals to root bracket 152.9 all square. Then our s is what? 32.9, right? All square. So let me just do everything straight. So it now be what? Root bracket open minus 52.9 minus 2.9 bracket close all square, then plus bracket open 32.9 bracket close. I'm coming. 32.9 bracket close all square. Okay, when I do everything, I got 62.29. So this is the resultant, which is 62. Resultant is equals to what? 62.29 or approximately 62.3 kilometer. So that is just it. You can see that is very, very easy. Okay. Yes, so we have done question 5. Now let's do question 4. Okay, so let's do question 4. All right, so it's very easy. Now, as long as you know the the angles, northwest, south, east, you are good to go. That's why I elaborate on that aspect so much. Now let's do this one, question 4. Now determine the resultant of two vectors, each of magnitude 10 meter, if the angle between them is what? If between them is 120 degree. So these are the two vectors. Okay, so these are the two vectors. The angle between them is what? Is 120 degree. Okay, so let's this two vectors are on each. Okay, these the two vectors. Wait, determine the resultant. This is the resultant I'm looking for. Okay, which is the total. Determine the resultant of two vectors, each of magnitude 10. So each of these vector, their magnitude is 10. Okay. Yes, if the angle between them is what? 120 degree. This is very easy. This is from our previous vector class as well. Now, when you see a question like this, when you see a question like this, they gave you two vector and put one angle. Okay, if you look at a question like this question is coming from parallelogram law of vector. Okay, I also taught you guys that one in our previous class under parallelogram law of vectors. Okay, so the formula to calculate for the resultant, which is very easy, is equals to, we are using cosine, which is equals to r square is equals to a square plus b square, then plus 2ab, then cos what? Cos theta. Okay, plus 2ab cos t. That is very easy. So arrow square, we're looking for arrow equals to a. Look, we can take any of them as a. Okay, let's do a will be what? So based on the fact that both of them are 10 10, so we can continue. Let's say this is a, let's say this is b. Okay, so a square plus b is still 10, then plus 2 times 10 times 10, then cos what? Cos 120. So 10 square is 100. Under 10 square is still 100. Then plus 10 times 10, 2 times 10 times 10 is 200. Okay, it's 200. 2 times 10 times 10 is 200. Then cos 120. So let's do that. Is 200 cos 120. If we do 200 cos 120, we get what? We get minus 100. So everything here will be minus. Everything here is minus 100. Okay, 100 plus 100 give us 200. Then minus this 100 give us 100, right? So arrow square is equals to 100. We are not done yet. So arrow square is equals to what? 100. So we are looking for arrow square, we're looking for arrow, not arrow square. So to make arrow stand alone, we take the square root of both sides. This square will cancel the square root. We left with what? Arrow is equals to root 10. Okay, the square root of root 100. So the square root of 100 is what? Is 10. So the answer is what? The answer is 10. Okay, so the resultant of the two vectors is what? Is 10. Okay, so that is just it. Okay, so yeah, let's continue. Let's do two more questions before we call it a day in vector. Okay, before we call it a day in calculation of vector quantities. So let's continue with the last part of this class. Okay, so now let's start with question 10. Okay, they say an object moves 5 meter north. So this is the north, right? This is north direction. So the object moves 5 meter north, and then 3 meter east. Okay, 3 meter, this is north, right? Yes. They say find both the distance and displacement covered by what? Covered by this object. Okay, now remember, distance and displacement, they are two different things. Distance is a scalar quantity, while displacement is what? Is vector quantity. Now remember that scalar quantity, we can easily add them up together. I don't know if you understand. Let's say, for example, let's say an object has a mass of 50 kg, another one M2 has a mass of 30 kg, and they are standing on a particular plank or so. If they ask you the total mass acting on the plank will be what? You just add them together, it will be 80 kg, right? Yes, because why? Mass is a scalar quantity. You can easily, we add scalar quantity together. I don't even understand easily. By simple what? By simple addition. Okay. Yes. Then just look for what? Look for a distance and what? Look for a displacement. Now, since distance is scalar quantity, we just need to add up these two. We'll get the distance. So our distance will be equals to what? 5 plus what? 3, which is equals to 8 meter. So our distance is 8 meter. Distance is scalar quantity. So our distance is what? 8 meter. So the distance traveled by that object is what? Is 8 meter. Then what about the displacement? Remember, displacement is a vector quantities. And it's a vector quantity, and vector quantities they are added by Pythagoras theorem and other stuff. Okay, so we cannot add vector quantity directly by simple addition. I don't know if you understand. So because they are not scalar, unlike scalar that you can add directly by addition. So vector quantity, we can add them using Pythagoras theory, using parallelogram of vector, and many others. Okay, so to look at displacement, we use Pythagoras theory, which is equals to r is equals to what? Root y square plus what? S square, right? Yes. So our y is what? Y is 5, right? So bracket 5 all square. Then s is what? 3. So bracket open 3, bracket close all square. The square of 5 is what? 25. Then the square of 3 is 9, right? So if we add them up to be, let's add them up. If we add them up, 25 plus 9 will give us 34. Okay, so give us 34. Now what is the square root of 34? The square root of 34 is 5.8. So our displacement is what? Is 5.8. So it's very easy. Okay, so now let's do question 8 and 9. Now question 9 is following question 8. Okay, so now let me start with question 8 first. Now they say 4 forces 8, 6, 2, and 4 act on a point O, okay, in the direction north, east, south, and what? West, okay, respectively. Find the magnitudes of the resultant respectively. What does this respectively means? Yeah, it's telling this. It means that the very first force we had to, which is 8, act on is on the north direction. I don't even understand. Respectively, 8 is on the north direction, 6 is on the east direction, 2 is on the south direction, while 4 is on the east is on the west direction. Okay, so 8 is on what? Is on north. So this is north direction, right? So 8 out in the north direction. Then 6 out on what? Is east, right? So 6 out on east direction. Then 2 out on what? South. So 2 out on what? South direction. Then 4 out on what? West. Okay. 4 out on west. They say you should look for what? So you should look for um the magnitude of the resultant, which is very easy. Okay, there are many ways we can do this. Let me use the long method first. Once I use the long method, then I'll show you the easier method to use. Okay, so remember using our normal using resolution of vectors, normal way of resolving vector. Now, y is always y, the y component is usually sine, the x component is usually cos, right? So let's start with this. 6 sine 6 is actually east direction. And remember, the angle at east is what? 0 degree, right? So 6 cos what? 0 degree, right? So then plus 8 sine. Now 8 is actually north direction, right? And north is what? 90 degree, right? So 8 cos what? 90 degree. Okay, now let's continue. Then plus 4. 4 is on what? Is on the west direction. Remember, west is what? Is 180, right? So then last part 2 is on where? Is on the south direction. And south is what? 270 degree. So south is 270 degree, right? So cos 270 degree. So if we add them here, we get our heads, then look at the resultant. So let's add everything here. If we add everything here, you can use your calculator. Let me just do it. Okay, 6 cos 6 sine 0 plus 8 sine 90 plus 4 sine 180 plus 2 sine 270. Everything give us 6. So our y is what? Our y is 6. Okay, I mean our y is 6. Then what about our x? If we add everything to give us 2. Let's just do it. 6 cos 0 plus 8 cos 90, then plus 4 cos 180, then plus 2 cos 270. Okay, if we do it, we get 2. Our s is what? Is 2. So we are not done yet. Okay, I need to look at the resultant. To be what? Y square plus what? S square, right? Yes, our y is what? 6. So all square. Our 2 is our x is 2. That's all squared. Okay, so 6 square is what? 36. 2 square is 4. So 36 plus 4 give us 40, right? So the square root of 40, is 6.324. Okay, so the resultant is what? 6.324. Now the easiest method we can also use again. This is the y direction, this is y axis, this is the x axis, right? This one is going up positive, this one is going down negative. 8 minus 2 give us 6. So our y is equal to 6. Then this one is the x direction, right? This one is going to positive s, this one is going to negative s. So positive 6 minus 4 will give us what? 2. So our s is equal to 2. Then we can use this one to get it. So this is the shortest method, okay? Yes. So yeah. Then the last part, referring to question 8, find the direction of the resultant force. Our resultant force is 6.324, right? They say to look for a direction, okay, which is very easy. I told you guys, right? They say to look for the direction. They say to look for the direction, which is easy. Okay, so I'm coming. Positive, negative, positive. I mean negative y, negative s, positive y, positive s, right? Okay. So if you look at our y and our s, the one we got, and the y and the s are positive. So therefore, the resultant is at where? Is at the first quadrant, right? Yes, at the first quadrant. Now, how are we going to look at the angle of the resultant in the first quadrant? It's very easy. I told you guys now and that. I'm looking for the angle is theta and is equals to the inverse of tan, then y over what? S, right? So let's continue. Inverse of tan, y is what? 6. Then s is 2, right? So 6 going to 2 is 3. Now the inverse of 3 will give us what? In shift tan 3 will give us 71.56. So the angle of the resultant is what? 71.56 degree. So this is just it, okay? So yes, so this is all about vector, the full calculations of vector quantities, okay? Now if you want to, this topic I taught it earlier. So if you want to access the previous classes on vector quantity, you can just go through the playlist, okay? You will see our previous classes on vector quantities, okay? Yes, so we come to the end of the full calculation of vector quantity.